Hello again and welcome, listeners, to Shallow Thoughts and Deep Shit. My name is Jefferson Lambert, and I'll be your host for this atrocity as I journey through the mind of a serial misanthrope. You can listen to this podcast for free at Spotify, Apple iTunes, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, CastBox, Radio Public, and Spotify for podcasters. If you like what you hear, please rate the show, subscribe, and follow. You can also follow the show on Instagram, X, Facebook, and YouTube, where you can join for extra content, new episode notifications, and more. Don't forget, you can interact with each episode and post a comment or ask a question if you so desire. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for tuning in. Let's get started, shall we? I am positive that I spent the first 13 years of my life mentally challenged, and then later started gradually becoming unchallenged. I was so stupid, so dense, and so far behind. I understood almost nothing and wasn't capable of deciphering wrong from right, and I lived far outside the realm of reality. I was lost and hopeless. I should be dead for all the lack of intelligence. The fact that I managed to make it to a teenager is a small miracle. The following is an excerpt that proved that I was extremely challenged for those first 13 years. Early morning explosion. When I was around 12 or 13, we had a big 8-man tent set up in my backyard. I think my father kept it there to air it out instead of storing it in our dank garage. We had 18 acres of land and had plenty of room to have a camping site out back. One night, my friend Dave and his brother John Bloom slept over, and we spent the night out in the backyard. Dave and John were friends from my neighborhood that lived over on Sherwood Drive. We had a fire pit out there that we kept burning all night long. I think it was the first time I had ever stayed up all night, and it was very exciting and rebellious. By early morning, we were all still wide awake and were fascinated by the mesmerizing flames and hot coals of the fire. We did some stupid shit that night, like rolling up TV guide pages and smoking them like cigarettes. Man, that burned my throat, and I'm not proud. What the hell was wrong with us? As the sun started to rise and daylight began to appear, I had a very clever idea to throw a half-full can of Deep Woods off bug spray into the fire. Oh boy, that wasn't a very good idea. Can anyone who's listening take a guess on what's about to happen? Anyone? We sat there and watched the label burn off and laughed and goofed around some more as the metal can began to heat and cook. And then, obviously, after some time, the fucking can exploded and sent us all running for our lives. The embers and sparks ripped through the pit and blew all the logs apart, sending burning hot shrapnel everywhere. There were hot coals all over the ground, in the woods, in the tent, and it's amazing nobody lost their eye that morning. My tiny heart was pumping furiously, and my even tinier brain was wondering how long it would be before the parents, police, and paramedics would arrive. We all stood there, wide-eyed, breathing heavily and afraid, but no one came. There were no sirens, no emergency crews, and it wasn't a big deal after all. Looking back, I really can't explain what I was thinking by throwing the can into the fire. How utterly dumb was I to throw a can of bug spray into the fire and not have consequences? Live and learn. Live and learn. Lots of fire, regret, and stupidity that morning. This episode is based on a series that I call Fire, Regret, Pain, Tears, and Stupidity. It's valid proof that I spent the first 13 years of my life mentally challenged and seriously ignorant, foolish, and idiotic. There's many stories to tell, so tune in again. See ya.